Hey traders, welcome to Charts and Coffee. We are kicking off this month of October with non-farm payroll coming up. We've got a lot of FOMC speak, but today I want to talk a little bit about September. And we talked about what we did in August, and I just wrapped up over the weekend my breakdown of September. So one of the things I try to do is at the end of every week, I will upload my statements from whatever the platform is that I'm using for futures, for my options, and I'll upload them into something called TradesViz. I think some of you are probably pretty familiar with this. And I've got a really thorough breakdown of this. You can check out a little bit later today over at countdowntrader.com. This is my blog here at Simpler. So a little bit later today, you'll see that update. But I'm going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek. Y'all are the first to see this, but a little bit of context on what you're about to see. So these are all the options day trades that we did in the mastery. So these are only alerts. If it wasn't an alert, it frankly didn't happen. So basically, if there's an alert, these are trades I'm taking, triggers, targets, expiration, all the good stuff, right, that you have in the alert. Cash account. This is a really simple thing that traders can do to avoid the pattern day trading rule. But that also means this is only long calls and long puts. So when I'm showing you what I did in August, when I'm showing you what I did in September, not a spread in the bunch. It's all cash account, no PDT. And one thing I didn't put in the video is we're usually averaging about 4 to 6 setups per morning, and then about 2 to 4 fills from those setups. And the setups are taken basically between 9:35 and 10:35. So I'm not day trading all day long. That's not only exhausting. I've been there and I've done that. I did that for a number of years in the mid 90s to early 2000s. It's exhausting. It was unenjoyable, and it wasn't necessarily profitable. Less is more when it comes to day trading. And for me, the effective less, the minimum effective dose for me is 9:30 to 10:35. Now, if you want to extend that window to 11:30 as follow through gets better, for sure. If you want to reopen the window later on between 1:35 and 3:05, those are excellent windows during the Wall Street trading day. So this is a little bit of context. And by the way, remember, gang, you can put on too many trades because each trade is a cost, right? In fees and in commissions. So keep that in mind. We've got to be cognizant of that cost. So that's enough of a ramp up, right? So if it wasn't something that we didn't have in the alerts, it's not going to be reflected here. And here's a look. This is the P&L only of the month of September. We'll do the same thing at the end of October. In fact, I might do it while we're actually, might be really cool is I'll do the October recap at the Orlando Summit. So I know some of you are going to be there for the summit we're doing. So maybe I'll do this next breakdown for the month of October. Since it'll be happening at the end of October, I'll do that live in the summit. We'll talk about how to break down your results to optimize, right? I'm still doing this 35 years in. I'm still asking myself, what could I have done better? I'm not pleased with this month. So by the way, a couple basics on what this month was is, first of all, I started, I think this is about 45. So I was still using position size based on 45K, which is pretty much what I did in August. So still pretty much based on 45,000. And you can see where we ended up. All right. So that aside, so was it nearly another? I did not. I've been trying to hit that 100%. I haven't done it. I think we hit 94 last month, and I think I was, just shy of that again this month. That's okay. That's not the point. The point is to control risk, and I think we've done a really good job of controlling risk. And there we go. Here is what I did. And by the way, there are losses. My gosh, are they losses? One of the things I'll tell you that I was not happy about was my win rate. And I know that at the end of the quarter, the very last week of September, I really tightened up the target. So that's part of why it's a disproportionately high win rate. And you might say, Rog, isn't 100% the goal? It is never the goal. Perfection is never the goal. What we're really looking for is obviously more wins than losses, but larger wins than losses. And I find this is actually too high. Whenever I'm at 80+%, I'm taking targets too quick and I'm probably over trading. Those are two very common misconceptions that new traders make. That a high win rate is good. It's not. It means over trading most of the time, and it means taking profits too quick. And remember, every trade has a cost. So we have to be economical about our trades. Is this a trade that I absolutely have to put on, and can I control risk? The other thing that I realized happened is I had a tough start to the month. Now, look, if I wasn't breaking down my trades in this sort of brutal, merciless manner, I would just look at the net liquidating value or the account balance at the end of the month and pat myself on the back and go about my day. But the truth of the matter is, that tells me next to nothing. Here, I can see that I had a tough start to the beginning of the month. Worked hard to get up from about 50% to the mid 60 to 70% win rate area, which I like. And then I think I overcompensated. I think the tough beginning of the month had me taking profit a little too soon. So you might say, Rog, you grew your account, you almost doubled it. I could have done better. And this is where, rather than saying, hey, what did I do so well? What could I have done better? I actually did not trade a lot either. In fact, I had 45 trades, I believe, in August. Notice here, I only had 33 trades in September. So I probably wasn't as active as I could have or arguably should have been. So far less active. And by the way, by uploading the, let's see here, let me go into August and undo September. So these are September's numbers. And then here's August. So August, that's actually ideal. That's actually a pretty good number of trades. Right. And the win rate is exactly what I like. I hit a lot of trades early in the month, and then I settled down to, all right, Rog, you're taking profits too quick. And then I settled into that 70. And I made more money. I made more money in August than I did in September. So that's the good and the bad. And I hope this kind of breakdown, this is what I do to myself. What is it that I could do better? And so hopefully that's helpful information. And this is what we did in September. So I'm pretty pleased, but there's a lot that I could have done far better. That win rate's too high, too few trades. I can see where I overcompensated. And when you look at your win rate and you start to look at your behavior, you can map far better. Oh, Rog, you were starting to accommodate. I'm losing too much. I might put on one trade, two, right? See, I went 1 for 1. Here I went one. Well, I had one. I didn't go 1 for 1. I went 2 for 1, 1 loss, 1 win. Here I went 1 for 1. Here I went 2 wins, 1 loss. Here I went 2 wins, 2 wins, 2 wins, 1 loss. Right. So I can see what I was trying to do. I didn't like where my win rate was, and I over adjusted. All right. So anyways, I won't harp on this for much longer, but a lot of folks say, Rog, yeah, break down what you do at the end of the month. And that's what I do. Be tougher on yourself than the market can ever be on you. I promise, gang, that is the path to becoming a better trader. Don't try to excuse away mistakes. Look at them and then fix them, right? If you can't look at them, there's no way you're going to fix them. And please don't be that trader who looks at the month and says, oh, it was the algos or it was the this. No, it was me, right? Look in the mirror and say, how do I make that person better? That's the mirror, by the way. TradesViz, Wingman Tracker, TradeMetria, whatever it is you like, that's the mirror. Don't blame them. They're not out to get you. Look in the mirror, make the adjustments. So I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense. And let's get to the question, shall we? All right. Let's see here. Good morning. Good morning. All right. KRE, seasonality. Well, even before I get there, Relief, I'm happy to pull it up. Let's see here. So here's KRE. Let's talk about the most important thing, my friend. KRE is in a downtrend, and RTY is in a downtrend. So let's cover that first before we overlay a seasonal expectation. These are in downtrends, and that is going to override anything that I'm looking at in the uh, let's see, that I'm looking at in the seasonal. All right. So now if I jump on over to the seasonal, which is a secondary consideration, it's not the primary consideration. The secondary consideration is yes, we could see movement higher, but remember, I would start with waiting for either the RTY or the KRE to go into some kind of neutral trend. But there's your seasonal right there on that KRE. All right. So there we go, nice and big. Okay, next up is D. Bolton says you have a good problem up 94%. Yeah, these are definitely good problems. But if I were to step back, and thank you, if I were to step back and not acknowledge exactly what you're saying, did I take profits too soon? Was I trading too much? Was I trading enough? What did I maybe overcompensate for? And I can see a lot of mistakes that I made in September that I could have done far better. In fact, it's really interesting. I was talking with the bot this morning before the show, and I said it's really interesting. I know that most folks look at August as sort of a throwaway month. I think I started off August with a chip on my shoulder. I said, you know what? I'm going to prove that good trading, great trading, in fact, can be done in August. And I think I had a very different mindset in August. Well, September is considered to be a little bit easier trading. Volume comes back. It's the fall trading season. And I think I coasted a little bit. I think I started October with realizing, okay, you went at August, Rog, with a different mentality than you went at September. So it's really cool to contrast those two months as I start this fresh month. All right. Next up is yeah, my pleasure. Rainy days. I think it's kind of fun because no, it's not kind of fun. What's really hard is to sit here publicly and pick yourself apart. But I've maybe come to like it a little bit, where I know the best thing I can do as someone who's chosen to not only be a trader, but trade in a fishbowl is let you all see everything, right? And not the wins. I mean, gosh, who here needs another trader sitting around celebrating themselves? I'm pretty much over it. I'm sure you are as well. Let's talk about what could be done better. What could be optimized? What did I do wrong? Right? And I don't mind to do that because, well, I win more than I lose, but I think it's really important to pick apart those losers and pick apart even a seemingly on the surface good month. So someone might say, and I don't know who asked me, I was talking to my husband this morning. He said, so do you think September was a good month? I said, no, not compared to August, right? If I look at what I did in August and what I did in September, I could have done it better. And so no, I don't look at September as a month to necessarily be proud of. And I hope to make the adjustments here in October. Now, yesterday in the mastery, we set up, I think, 5 different trades. We wanted to get short KRE, short Russell, short crude, short XLE. Directionally, I was thrilled with what we focused on. We also were very cognizant of Powell at 11 o'clock a.m. yesterday, but I didn't get a single trade off in October. So right now I'm flat as a pancake as we go into the second trading day. So question here is, what do I think about the VIX and the NASDAQ being up this morning? I don't look at them rainy day as two things that I would look at together. I know that I've got a different take on market internals. I don't actually give a rip what most market internals have to say. Why is that? Rob, that's what gives. I thought market internals are really important. Not to me. Nothing is more important than sentiment levels, which I think is what most people are trying to extract out of the VIX. And I think there are better ways to extract it. One is with the actual structure of the 5-minute chart, which is what I'm going to day trade. Right? I'm not looking at 7 different time frames. I'm not looking at 4 different time frames. I'm looking at one time frame to make my day trading decisions. That said, I will look at a few sentiment levels, previous session close. By the way, I won't rehash that now. Go to my Friday video at the Simpler Trading YouTube channel. It's also on my YouTube channel at Raghee Horner. Check out how I broke down SPX and Darvis. Those are 2 very popular questions that I get. Rog, how do you use Darvis? I shared that. And Rog, how would you trade the SPX? I shared that in a lot of detail. I think that video is 13 minutes long. And I shared a lot. And the levels that I look at each morning, whether that be the 5-minute Pingala, as we like to call it, you might say, Rog, what the heck's a 5-minute Pingala? Go check out that video. And then when you're looking at that sentiment level, previous session close, go check it out. You're going to see what an edge it gives you right within the first 5 minutes of the trading day. So I don't look at the VIX as something that's necessarily indicative of anything but the VIX, right? So if I'm not going to look at NASDAQ and the VIX, I'll look at the VIX futures for the sake of the VIX futures, and I'll look at the NASDAQ. Now, you might say, Rog, but VIX is moving up, NASDAQ is moving down. That's cool. But I think it's much more important that I look at the structural integrity of this downtrend than I look at what's happening on the VIX, right? Now, the VIX is a cool trading futures contract, so it's definitely worth attention, but I don't need the VIX to know that the NASDAQ is moving lower, right? Do you see that, rainy days? Red multi-trend below the previous session, close. However, when we put the 5-minute Pingala to work, and you might be saying, Rog, what is that? I walk you through how to do that manually on your own easily. Yes, I've automated it, but I'm never going to keep the logic of a tool from you all, right? There's no mythical unicorn fairy dust stuff on my chart. You know why everything's there. You know why it's being calculated. So take a look at the high-low range of the first 5 minutes, get that Pingala out there, which you can do, and then see where we are in reference to that as we start the trading day. All right. So next up is Sachin. It's impressive that you know, Sachin, I'll tell you what. I actually don't, but thank you. You make me feel really good. I write everything down, right? It's so much easier. It's so much easier when, why should I type everything out? Everything's here for myself and for the members. So when they want to look at everything that I did the previous session, you know, it's there. It's there. Right. So that's why I remember. I can just go back at what I typed. I tell you what, though, Sachin, I try to have a really short memory about winners and losers. I think that sort of being Dory the fish is really effective in trading, right? If I want to remember what I did, Tradesviz will mercilessly remind me of what I did not so well, or frankly well, the previous month. So, I mean, that's always there. That's always there. I can just go back to Tradesviz and pick my trading month apart. But I think especially when we have winners, it's really important to have a cooling off period. It's really important to forget it, because every single day, especially for a day trader, is brand new. So yeah, the notes, I keep really, really good notes. All right. Let's see. FKL from our Essentials room asked the size of the win versus size of losses. So FKL, I don't go in with a rigid expectation of risk and reward. I have a fixed risk. I do not have a fixed reward. I think categorically expecting a certain percentage every day or percentage every week is a little bit of magical thinking, right? As if the market's going to yield what I want it to yield every single week. I take what the market gives me. We all do, whether we admit to it or not. We can only take what the market gives us. However, on the risk side, I can consciously decide not to risk, for example, max debit. We never do. And there's seldom, I will say never. We always use a fixed betting approach, a fixed stop approach, and it's never max debit. And as I like to say, max debit is akin to taking your car into a wall and saying, I hit the brakes. Not the same thing, right? Not the same thing. So I never use max debit. And it's at most 25% of premium paid. So I hope that helps. All right, gang. So that's a wrap for the full breakdown with me. Frankly, if you want to see me picking myself apart, what I could have done better, more detail on last month, check out Countdown Trader later on today. And in the meanwhile, have a great morning. I will see you all tomorrow, same time, same station. Thanks as always, gang. Be good to each other.